Hey there, it's Reba Haas of Team Reba, Remax Metro Eastside. And today I have some lessons for some of you who may be considering selling your homes. And you are wondering, what are some of the things that people are going to look at when they're purchasing your home? Now, most people on TikTok and other socials, because the real estate industry is always focused on, how you look, they're going to tell you everything about what to do on the inside of your house. And definitely agree that that's a thing you have to be concerned with. In fact, some of you might be watching this and noticing my bedroom's in the background and maybe picking apart some things that are showing, well, my house isn't for sale, so who cares? But when you're going to sell your house, you need to do more than just dress up the inside. And what I mean by that is, yeah, of course you have to have curb appeal because, we're all very visually oriented and focused. So that's first impressions. But then it's kind of like dating. When someone first comes to see your house, it is like that first date. And they do care about how you look and they want to see how appealing you are and they're kind of testing it out, right? But the more dates you have, such as getting an inspection, that's when they really get to see what else is going on. So things need to work. And not only do things need to work, you need to have access to things like your attic or your crawl space. And what I wanted to point out in today's video is your crawl space is only as useful as your ability to get inside of it. Case in point, I have a client right now who is under contract for a house, and it's a real estate guy and developer who bought a house in an estate, meaning someone passed away, so he convinced the heirs to sell it to him cheap. They sliced the lot up, put another house on the back, and now the house they're selling on the front, which was the old house, now that's really where they make their profit. So they're trying to get what they can out of it because it's their profit. And they also have to pay some final bills, right? For construction and all the things they've done. And one of the things that we're figuring out is they left a lot of pretty major things undone. The masonry, including the chimney, is in very bad repair. We're having somebody come out to look at that. Chimney's so bad it might actually have to be rebuilt, which is probably going to be pricier than expected. The crawl space is only 12 inches tall, so nobody can get inside of it. And here's why that matters. Most of the plumbing and some of the electrical for a house are run through the crawl space. And we couldn't see all the plumbing of this house. So we don't know if there's any active leaks that would be under the house, which is an important thing. We can tell just because they could kind of see by sticking their head down into the crawl space access that there's some missing vapor barrier, which is a problem because you want to stop. There's a reason why it's a barrier, because you don't want moisture coming up underneath your house because it can ruin the framing and the sill plate or other aspects of the structure of the home. So that could be a problem. We also can't tell. We think there's probably a rodent access, but we can't get in there and see if they have actually been living in this home or not down in that crawl space. So that's probably an issue too. And another client of mine recently had a plumbing leak where there was pinhole leaks in some pipes that caused a big problem at their house. And they only got it notified to them when the renter had their water bill go way up in 1 month. And then they had to get somebody down in their crawl space. It also had very low clearance. So that's a really tough working environment for a tradesperson to try and get into and cause massive delays in being able to fix a problem should one arise. Also makes doing any maintenance or repairs an issue. So that's one of the other things we're having quoted is what would it take to dig this out? And when it's like this, that is not cheap. So just pointing out, you really should make sure that spaces, when you're buying a house, and if you've been in a house a really long time and haven't sold a house, you might want to check your spaces to see how accessible they are, because this could become a problem. Because one of the other things we also discovered on this property is, I have no idea why it's like this, but the washer, which is located out in the garage, it drains directly out the side of the house and into the yard. In case you didn't know, that's improper. And so one of the things we're going to be doing on Monday is meeting with a plumber to find out what would it take to reroute that, put it in a drain. But guess what else has to be looked at? Crawl space access, because that's probably where they have to do the rerouting. So what in some cases might be not that expensive of a job, probably now going to be a much more pricey situation. So we'll see where we go with this deal, but it just, these kinds of issues, I think people out there should hear kind of what goes on really in house sales instead of the schmaltzy crap that a lot of people put on about, isn't this house beautiful? Well, that's great, but is it functional? Does it work? Is it going to cost you a lot of money down the road? And can you safely purchase it knowing there aren't any latent issues that you can't get to? Anyway, that's my 2 cents today. Reba signing off.